Hello, everybody. It's Lenny Murphy here with the next edition of our CEO series. And today it is my joy and pleasure to be joined by Anne-Sophie Damelincourt. I'm trying to do my French accent as best I can. So, Anne-Sophie, welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Leonard. Thank you so much. I'm really happy to be here with you.
Here as well. We were chatting beforehand at this I had not had the opportunity. We had not had the opportunity to chat before, so it's really kind of a blessing that we have that now. So, Anne-Sophie, so you wear multiple hats. Why don't you tell us about the hats that you wear, because that's a good way to set the stage for the rest of the conversation.
Yeah, I have to answer. First of all, I'm the founder and owner of Blue Lemon Insight Strategy, which is an agency, a consulting agency based in Paris and operating globally. I founded this company close to, maybe 15 years ago now. And my second hat is being on Isomar Council. Well, I've been elected 3 times. I'm the current treasurer, and I'm running today for the president role. So there are obvious links between what I'm doing in my company and, of course, being part and being really active in this very big and global organization, which is Isomar.
Yep. So let's talk about that. So one, congratulations. It's kind of cool. You and Kristen Luck both running. It's a win for women, no matter what, right? So I think that's fantastic for the industry that um, that we have two incredibly qualified, strong female leaders, in the running for presidency. Um, that speaks well for all of us, I think. Now, we did hear Kristen's vision the other day around SMR. So let's talk about yours. Obviously, you've been engaged for a long time. You're passionate. What's driving you for running for president?
This is what you say. What drives me first is passion. I mean, when you're a part of Isomar Council, you volunteer, and then I love what I do. I've been doing research for 20 years now, and I chose this profession. Some people get into research by chance or because they wanted to do marketing and couldn't do it, so started by research. Well, to me, it was exactly the contrary. I started as a brand manager at Unilever. It was my first job. And well, I felt like in love with research, and I decided to go to Nielsen. So Nielsen was my first company in market research, and I must say, it was a very good experience. And I still think that Nielsen brought me so much expertise and so good skills that I still keep today. So that's and it was 20 years ago, so I still remember them. So yes, passion is what drives me, and also I'm a very dynamic woman. I mean, from what I remember when I was really young or baby, my parents and also people around me keep saying that I'm full of energy. The definition is, oh, she's full of energy. So that's true. This is what I am. And also, I really believe in Isomar. Again, it's a big organization. Sometimes it can be, well, a little bit bureaucratic because basically it's big. And, when you have basically to manage to have a meeting between the Americas and Asia Pacific. Well, we had earlier a meeting with the APAC region with Christine. It was past midnight in Oregon, and it was almost midnight in New Zealand. So this is how it goes. And so I really believe in that industry. I really believe in that organization, and I then think now that not because of the pandemic, because I think the pandemic didn't bring anything new. It was more about an accelerator. And we have spent so many years waiting and waiting for some of us. I'm not talking about everyone, but for some of us, this transformation is really scary.
Mhm.
And so many people, and it's true in many regions in the world, for them it's scary and it's so difficult to make the leap. So I believe in our people and in this organization to make the leap and to make it good, so that everybody is happy with it, everybody is comfortable with it, and for growth. Because I think if you look at the data world dynamics, it's a double-digit growth. Where we can say the same for market research.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think we have maybe I would say the biggest challenges in our industry. So also this is why I'm running now, and well, I'm experienced. I've been in the market for 20 years. I know Isomar really well. I know the Isomar community really well. So it's time to do it.
That is fantastic, and I'm sure you notice me nodding a lot, through the conversation, because totally agree. And so hats off to you, because I agree with you 100%, and our stories are quite similar, in terms of our career paths and how we got here. Uh, but I would never take the leap personally to lead a trade organization, through this transformation period. So so amazingly, kudos to you and everyone else involved, because that would be uh, it would just be it wouldn't be a good match. So that's not my job, right? My job is to kind of be out here in the wilderness and uh, being a gadfly, kicking the industry in the pants a little bit, but not necessarily to lead to that next step, right? So I'm glad that there are folks like you that are willing to step up and say, yeah, you know what, there's a lot of change that is occurring. We saw it coming. Right?
Yeah.
Obviously, the pandemic was that quasi black swan accelerator, but something was going to get us there one way or the other, right? It was a question of time. And now here we are. And yes, the industry as a whole has a huge opportunity. Um,
Yeah.
but many companies have huge challenges to get there. And it's the way that it is. So I'm glad that you and ESMA are there to help provide that support through this transformation period. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and I would like to add something. You said leading, and of course, leading when you're running for presidency, this is what well, when you're president, this is what you do. But also, I think it's important. Well, you don't do it alone. You never do it alone. You have
Sure.
a team on council, and the team, we have uh, so many, so much diversity in the candidates. We have 27 candidates from every region. We have 3 people from Africa. This is the first time we have candidates from Africa.
That's
And
great.
personally, I'm quite proud of it, because I've been working really close to the African community. We have done circles, we have done master classes to help the African community and other communities in the world to make their leap into digital. So I'm quite proud of that. And coming back to the team, also there is a staff. So you lead, and so this is why a leader is important. But the team is important, and beyond the team, inside Isomar, you have all this huge community. And I'm sure that you have some people who don't want to be involved, but you have some who want to be involved. And
Mhm.
involvement is not necessarily being a rep or not necessarily being really, really active, but just sometimes sharing an idea or sharing something or just giving your perspective or your experience. Um, so I truly believe in that too. I think, well, to me it's very personal, but I think Isomar sometimes is not so open. You have, yes, it's a kind of bureaucracy, because you have the staff and you have this council. And for example, nobody knows what the council is doing. Well, we have minutes, it's accessible, but of course nobody look at them. So I think it's important. It's our role to go to invite people, to give access to people. Otherwise, it will never be done. So leading is not doing it alone, and I truly believe in this big community to move forward together.
That's fantastic. And again, hats off to you. I accepted long ago that my favorite form of government is benign dictatorship. Um, because meaning I don't mean that in terms of where I live or anything, but my management style is far more of I'm open to a group, but I get very impatient and it's like, all right, let's just do this, and here's how we're going to do it. So I struggle personally with building consensus among groups, which is why I don't. I'm not involved with associations, but I absolutely respect people like you that have the ability to do that. I wish that I did. I simply don't. It's just not in my DNA. But let's pivot a little bit off that because I suspect that as you think about this passion and this philosophy that you're talking about in terms of SMAR, how does that play out within your business, right? In your experience of being an entrepreneur and being a woman and balancing those out with this ethos. Is there a theme there as well?
You mean in my company?
In your company and your life? Yes.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course. Well, my company is really small. I'm mainly working with freelancers. The thing is, it's more linked to my personality. And coming back on your question or what you said on being a woman, personally, well, I have a sister. I was not grown up in the idea of because I was a woman or a female or a girl, it was different from me. It was not a question. I mean, it's never a question again. And I think it makes a big difference. I think I'm quite lucky because my mother was independent. My parents, there was so much love between them, but my mother was independent. I think I have this from her, and this is also my education. And the thing is, sometimes people go, well, and you're a woman. Yes, but to me, it doesn't make a difference because in what I did in my life, uh, beyond giving birth to my daughter, because males don't do that.
Right.
I mean, physically speaking, I think I've made sports, but you can make any sports. You don't have sports for boys or for girls. Um, with my father, we love doing 4x4 like crazy people and shouting. So mainly things who could have been for boys. And same in my work. I mean, when I created my company, it was just obvious. It's because I had experience and I wanted to run my own business. I think this is the same for when I decided to be to be a candidate for council and now for presidency. So yes, I'm a woman, but to me, I mean, maybe I could be a man. It doesn't make a difference to me. And I think it's really important because we were discussing this subject over the weekend, and I went, well, that's strange because it has never been a question. And I think for many people, it is a question. Being a woman or being Asian or being Black people. And I think this is how things should be. So I do really hope that people everywhere in the world will be able to follow their dreams, whether they are women or men, whether they are their skin color or their religion. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me to cluster people like this.
I so I agree 100%. I think it's a challenging topic politically, particularly here in the U.S. There's a lot of folks who would not share that, but yes, since you're open to that, I would say as well. I think a meritocracy is the absolute best way to work. It doesn't matter. None of these things matter, right? The color of our skin, our genders, any of those things. It's about everybody having the opportunity to do their best and live the lives that they want to do, regardless. And anyway, probably shouldn't delve into that too much because it is a sensitive topic. But um, but it is interesting. So when I think about me as a father, right? So I have multiple roles. I'm a business owner. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm a friend. I'm a son. I'm a brother. I have all of these roles that maybe we use gender specific names for them, but the reality is it doesn't matter. It's about my obligation in these relationships, right? That is the point. And balancing these obligations. And obligation sounds like a bad word. I don't mean it that way. I mean, these things that I freely choose to engage in these relationships in my life, in one way or the other. And it doesn't have anything to do with, you know, it, with my gender. It's simply, these are my responsibilities. Maybe that's a better way to say it. I have
Okay.
responsibilities as a business owner, as a husband, as a father, as a brother, as a son, as, all of those things. And juggling that can be challenging, but also for me at least, that's where the fulfillment comes from. And I tell, it sounds gushy, but I tell my wife all the time, it's like, you need to understand, you saved my life, right? If it wasn't for these relationships, I would have
Mm.
no focus. These relationships, these responsibilities, these obligations, give me the focus for everything else that I do. Um, and I find that empowering, and into my industry as well. The things that I do for Green Book, et cetera, they're part of that. They drive me to do more. Um, is that, sorry, I wasn't trying to make this about me, but is that similar to how you think? It seems like maybe it is, that it's these relationships that drive you, give you the passion to do these things.
Yeah, yeah, of course, and it can be from many people. Of course, education. Of course, I was lucky to travel the world with my parents, so being a citizen of the world is something which is, I would say, normal
Hmm.
to me, but where normality is, we don't know. And also, of course, and in this experience for presidency, of course, my family, my husband. It has been a discussion, of course, because you spend so much time, and even for the campaign, it's 24 hours, 24 hours, 7 days. So yeah, this is, and they give, my husband and my daughter also give me the energy to do that and allow me to do that. I mean, not because I'm a mother or because I'm a woman, but just because, as you said, well, I'm living, personally speaking, I'm living in a house and everybody is playing a role. It's like in society. In the society, everybody's playing a role, and for some people it's more difficult. You have some others who have to help these people. It's exactly the same. So it's a question of, yes, I think finding your role, and sometimes it falls naturally and you do it normally without thinking about it. And I think this is also the beauty of it, because as you said, I think I'm quite lucky. And again, coming back to education, I think education is so important. I'm not, of course, I'm talking about going to school, but not only. I mean, your education I'm talking about individuals and values.
Hmm.
This is the most important. And this is where you also find your energy and where you find ideas and you find the strength to move forward.
Yep. Nope. Agreed. So I'm reminded that I wish that I wish this wasn't our first conversation, because I feel like I've missed out in not having known you over the past few years, Anne-Sophie. So I expect you and we could talk for a really long time, and it would be, and it would be a really good conversation. So, uh, but I do want to be conscious of time for our listeners and for you. Um, so think about the next 2 years. Okay.
Mhm.
What do you hope to accomplish? And I don't mean specifically around SMART, that could be a part of it, but what are your goals and aspirations over the course of the next 2 years?
uh, Two things. Um, the first one is maybe easier, is to make this association, well, I'm talking about Isomar, more accessible. In more accessible, I'm talking about geographically speaking, in terms of price, in terms of what it can bring to you, whatever it can bring. So this is number one. And number two, which is much more challenging, is to make that this organization is in its market to support companies in our new world of digital, but within this mix of MRX, traditional MR, and digital, or having a first step into it, because the risk, and having been on council 3 times, the risk is to have too many objectives or too difficult ones, and you achieve nothing. So again, the first one is really easy. It's more about process and relationship we have with people, so it's natural. The second one is much more difficult. So having this step into the new world will be a win for me.
Okay. What about you personally outside of SMR? Are there other goals that that you have as well that are outside of that?
Could you say it again, please? I missed your question.
I'm so sorry. I probably spoke too fast. Are there other goals outside of those wonderful goals you just stated about SMR? Is there something else that's more personal with your business or your family or some other passion area?
No, nothing to do with my business, because I think it's something which is really different. So it has nothing to see with my business, but what I can bring from my business is my experience and my expertise. And also, I'm still working in that business. I mean, after our call, I will have interviews. Well, I'm still doing focus groups, and I'm still interviewing people. Well, I'm a quali, so this is what I do. So I think I'm still into it, and it's important. And I think that I can bring that as well. I'm really close to what members are doing. I'm not living on the moon, or I'm living here with people. So it's true and pragmatic.
Okay. All right. That's great. This has been wonderful. Hopefully it is not the last time that we speak. Well, let's say will not be, one way or the other, right? So obviously post-election, we'll chat again, one way or the other. And I enjoyed the conversation very, very much and appreciate the time. So I'm glad that we made this happen.
Thank you so much, Anna. Thank you. Great pleasure.
Thank you, Anne-Sophie, and good luck. And for anybody, I'm not an SMR member. Anybody who is an SMR member, vote. Right.
Yeah.
So
vote.
take it from an American. Vote. Voting's important. So all right. Appreciate it very much. Take care.
Thank you, Eleanor.